So it's already 1:10. So let's continue now our discussion. So saan tayo nag-stop last meeting? I think we're done with this one. So where did we stop last meeting, guys? I think right here, right? Seatwork number 1. Hello? Okay pa ba kayo? Guys, hello. Saan tayo nag-stop last meeting? Hello? Hindi pa gumagana yung mga mic nyo ngayon? Guys? Saan tayo nag-stop last meeting? Nandiyan ba kayo? Miss Annalyn, Mr. Jericho, Mr. Christian, Miss Jenica, Mr. Jerwell.
Sir, na-disconnect po ako nung last part ng meeting.
Disconnect ka. So about the others? Kimberly, Julia.
May
Saan?
Seatwork 1 po natapos,
Seatwork
sir.
number 1. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right, so kita nyo na yung nasa screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. So seatwork number 1 and 2. So I'll give this one as your first and second quiz for your finals. Okay? So given the circuit shown below, develop a BB program that allows the user to input values for resistor R, inductor L, frequency F, and the voltage source or VS. And thereafter, it will compute and display the voltage drop across the resistor VR and the inductor VL. Okay, so do this one as your first quiz. So the deadline will be this coming, or this next week, Wednesday. It's coming August 5. Okay, so you guys have 4 days to do the quiz number 1, which is your seatwork number 1, then quiz number 2, which is your seatwork number 2. Okay, so meron lang correction dito. So right here sa interface, so instead of conductor, change this one into inductor. Okay, so same with the result. Instead of conductor, change this one into inductor. Okay, so we have an example input here and then the expected output. So you can compare your answer with this one. And then here's the given formula. So all you need to do is analyze the given formula and then make it work like this one. And then do not forget to include the picture or the image. Okay, so just put a small picture box beside this one, and then use a snipping tool and then save it and then import it to your Visual Studio. Do you guys have a question so far regarding with your quiz number 1? So we have 4 inputs, 2 outputs. All right. So how do you put or how do you insert pi? So you can use math.py. I think this is quite the same with your Excel. So you can use math.py, and then for square root, this one, for square root, you can use math.sqrt. Okay, so in your Seatwork number 2, so the area of an ellipse is given by the formula area is equal to pi times a times b. So the circumference of an ellipse is given by the formula c is equal to pi times the square root of 4 times a plus b squared. Okay, so write a program to calculate and display the area and the circumference of an ellipse by allowing the user to input for the minor a and major b. So in Seatwork number 2, we only have 2 inputs, and then you're going to calculate the ellipse and the area and then the circumference of the ellipse. Okay, so you can use this formula and then this formula for the area. Question so far?
None.
Okay, so I'll give you guys 2 minutes or 1 minute to analyze the Seatwork number 1 and 2, and then ask me any clarification. So mas maganda ngayon pa lang clarify nyo na, baka mamaya or baka next time makalimutan na natin. So ngayon pa lang dapat i-clarify nyo. So I'll give you guys 30 seconds for Seatwork number 1.
So yung image ba yan mismo gagamitin?
Yes, yung image.
Yes. Yan ba mismo yung gagamitin?
Yes. Ito mismo yung gagamitin nyo. So just use the snipping tool. So how do we use the snipping tool? So go to Windows and then type snipping tool. Then you'll see this one. Okay. So new, and then crop nyo lang mismo to. Then save this one. Then import this picture to your Visual Studio. What else? Right, so I guess there's no more question regarding with Seatwork number 1. And then for your Seatwork number 2, include this picture also, or this image. Question, guys? Wala? So, clear naman ba yung instruction with Seatwork number 1 and Seatwork number 2? So, those Seatwork will serve as your first quiz and second quiz.
Computer.
Alright, so I guess you guys doesn't have a question. So let's proceed to the next one. So assignment. So hindi ko na ipapa-assignment to. Ito na lang gawin nyo 1 and 2. So this one, gagawin na lang natin to ngayon. So write a VB program that computes and displays the total resistance and total current of a parallel circuit consisting of 3 resistors and voltage source as shown below. So this one. So ito na yung circuit or simple circuit ng series circuit natin, parallel circuit. So for you to get the total resistance, so we do have here the formula. So R1 times R2 times R3 divided by R2 times R3 plus R1 times R3 plus R1 times R2. Okay, and then for you to get the total current, so of course IT is equal to VT divided by RT. So VT stands for total voltage, and then RT stands for total resistance. Okay, So, habang ginagawa ko, gawin nyo na rin para kung sakaling may error, then masolve na natin kaagad. Okay, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4 inputs and then 2 outputs. So first, we need the picture box. And then a text box. So para palakihin or para ma-resize nyo tong text box, click nyo muna yung text box, then click the check symbol, and then check the multi-line. Okay? So in that way, pwede nyo nang i-free size tong text box nyo. So we need R1, R2, R3, and then the voltage source. Then here's the RT, and then the total current. All right, and then a label. Also need a label. So let me just change the size of this one. So R1, R1. So just copy and paste. R2, R3, R4. And then the total resistance. And then the total current. So just put here results. Okay, and then one button. So this is where we're going to put our code. 25. Compute RT and ID. There you go. All right, and then in my picture box, so I'll just screen copy this one, or can use a snipping tool. And I'll save this one to my desktop. Okay, and then I'll just change the size mode into stretch image, and then import the image itself. Triple that, go to local resource, and then import, and then the image parallel. This one is PS. Right. So question so far? So this is just for designing your interface. So we need 4 inputs, and then 2 outputs. And then this is where we're going to put the code. Okay. So let's declare a variable first. In R1, R2, R3, and then BS as single. So I will not use integer since it will only accept in whole number. So I will use single or double or decimal to accept decimal. So R1 is equal to text box 1.text. So check the arrangement of your text boxes. In my case, this is my text box 1, text box 2, text box 3, text box 4, text box 5, and then text box 6. Okay, so this is my R1, which is my text box 1. R2 is equal to text box 2.text. R3 is equal to text box 3.text. And then for my BS, it is equal to text box 4.text. Okay, so now we have the inputs. So let's use this formula. So for us to get the total resistance, so my total resistance is this one, text box 5.text. So text box 5.text is equal to R1, R2 is an open parenthesis, R1 times R2 times R3 divided by R2 times R3. So we have 3 parentheses here. R1 times R3, R2 times R3. And then R1 times R3 plus R1 times R2. Okay, so this is now our total resistance. And then lastly, for total current, so IT, so my IT is text box 6. Text box 6.text is equal to VT, which is your VS, divided by RT, which is our text box 5.text. Right? So let's test this one. Start. Alright. So let's say our R1, R2, R3 is 1, 2. Alright, so it's quite small. Let me just change the font size. Alright. So R1, 1, 2, 3. The voltage source is 10 volts. Okay. So compute RT and IT. So it will compute the total resistance and then the total current at the same time. Okay. So you can verify this one by doing it manually. So you can solve it first in paper and then compare it to your program if it's correct. So you should get a value of 6 if you're going to use the value 3 to 1 in your resistance. And then for your total current, we have 1.66 amps. Right? So how about if it's 5 volts? So same total resistance, but having only 0.83 total current. You guys have a question so far? Question, guys, question.
None, sir.
All right, so none by Miss Trina. How about the others? So kapag wala nagtatanong, ibig sabihin, naintindihan na. Mamaya, di nyo pala. Mas maganda magtanong na ngayon kaysa patagalin pa natin para masolve na natin kaagad. Alright. Sige. Kung wala na ang katanungan dito, proceed na tayo sa next. Okay. So we do have here an arithmetic shorthand version. So as you can see right here, we have 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and then division. So pag nakita nyo itong code na to, x plus is equal to 1, ibig sabihin lang yan is x is equal to x plus 1. Okay? Para nag-i-increment siya ng by 1 every loop. Okay? So ito, effective to kapag may mga if and else statement kayo or loop statement na dun sa program nyo. Hopefully, maabutan pa natin yun bago mag-end yung or bago mag-final exam since nasa module 1 pa lang tayo and then yung looping sign is module 2 or module 3 na yata. Okay? So as of now, 80 out of 130 pa lang. So hopefully matapos natin ito ngayon. Okay? So of course, if it's plus, it will increment by 1. So depende sa value na nasa right side. Okay? Pag 1 yan, then mag-increment by 1 each loop. Kapag 2, mag-increment yan by 2 each loop. Okay? So, dito naman subtraction. So, instead of incrementing, of course, it will decrement depending on the value of this one. So, if it's -1, then it will decrement by 1 every loop. Okay? So, same with multiplication. It will be multiplied by 1 every loop or multiplied by the value of whatever is on the right side. Okay? And then for division, of course, it will be divided every loop or each loop. Okay? And then next is constant variable. So instead of using the word dim in declaring a variable, if you want to declare a variable wherein it has a constant value, so you can use the word const. Okay? So this const will contain one permanent value throughout the execution of the program. Okay? So same process, but instead of dim, use const and the variable name and then as what data type. And then equal to whatever is the constant value or the permanent value of that variable. So we have an example here. We have pi val, okay, or the value of the pi, as double is equal to 3.14157. Okay, so as you can see right here, the value of pi val is 3.14157. So hindi naman siguro mapapalitan yung value ng pi natin, no? Since talagang constant value naman na yun. Okay. And then for RYT or right as single, the value of this one is 0.07. And then R is equal to 0.07. And then variable YR is equal to 12. Okay? So kung may question kayo, feel free to interrupt me anytime. Okay? And then concatenation operator. So you can use either and sign or plus symbol to combine two statements or combine two strings. So we do have here a text box, sample.text. So nagtataka ba't napalitan yung pangalan nito? So pwede nyo rin palitan, hanapin nyo lang mismo yung name or yung address mismo. Okay? So para magkaroon kayo ng idea, say a text box is 1. So by default, the name of that one is textbox1.text. Okay, so you can change that one into any name that you want. Okay, so in our example, we use sample. So you can choose, you can change this one into sample. Okay, make it sample.text. All right, and then we have an example here. Hook this last to this. Alright, so ang mangyayari lang naman dito is basically pagdidikitin niya lang yung dalawang statement or dalawang concatenated na sentence. Okay, so hook this or itong S na to is madidikit dito sa directory na to. Okay, so para ma-appreciate nyo, so I'll just give you an example. So hindi ko na lang bubarahin to. Okay, tayo ng text box. 25. Hindi na lang natin sa, sigurahin ko na lang ito. Okay, so this one is text box 7. Text box 7.text is equal to string hook this plus 2. Okay. So in this case, pagdidikitin niya lang yung dalawang statement natin. Okay, so try this one out. So nilagay ko rin siya sa button na to. So tinanggal ko na yung old code. So ang gagawin na lang natin. Okay. So yan. Oops, masyadong malaki. Palitan ko lang yung font size. Let's make it 15, I guess. Para saktong-sakto. Yan. So, as you can see, yung these two is nagdikit lang. Okay? So, para magkaroon tayo ng space dito, this space to this. So, pwede nyo dayain. Maglagay lang kayo ng space mismo dito. Yan. And then, start. So, yun. May space na kayo. So, basically, pagdidikitin niya lang yung dalawang statement. Okay? So, other example of this one is we have time text or leave text box time the text is equal to current time. So, this is just a string. And format. So, ito yung mga isa na sa mga format examples. So, pag sinabi natin format, kinukuha mo yung certain or kino-format mo mismo yung certain object. Okay? Or certain properties ng isang object. So, in this case, may kinukuha tayo. Wherein gumamit tayo ng function na now. Kinukuha natin yung hours and then minutes. Okay? Papakita niya lang naman yung current hours and then current minutes ng computer system. Okay? Another example is dime first string is equal to Jose. And then dime last string is equal to Rizal. So, pwede kayo mag-declare ng two variables separately. Okay, magkasunod. And then, ilabas natin yun sa message box. Okay, so para makita nyo kung anong result, kita ko lang dito. Okay, so kung papansinin nyo, wala akong nilagay or hindi tayo gumamit ng text box. So, hindi naman na kailangan yun. Kapag gumamit kayo ng message box, magpapakita na yun sa gitna mismo. Okay, so parang yun nga, literal na message siya. So, click lang natin tong button na to. Then, ito na yun. So, I hope you guys can see this one. So, this is a message box wherein it has a value of Jose Rizal coming from two different variables. Then, as you can see right here, we have a double quotation in the middle wherein it contains nothing, just a space. So, ganun din yun. Parang dinayan nyo lang yung program para magkaroon kayo ng space. Okay, since hindi kayo pwedeng maglagay ng space mismo dito kasi variable na to yun. Kakaroon kayo ng error ng sakali. Or kung ayaw nyo naman lagyan neto, pwede nyo lagyan ng dito sa Rizal. Space Rizal. So parang yung ginawa rin natin kanina. Okay. So pwede nating ilagay din to sa text box para makita nyo rin. Text box 7.text is equal to. So remove na natin tong close and open parenthesis. So try natin. Yan. Jose Rizal. So this will just basically get the value of first and then get the value of last. And at the same time, kukoncatenate o ididikit niyo yung dalawa gamit ang and na symbol. So pwede kayong gumamit ng plus or and. So gumagana yung dalawang yun. Okay? Question so far regarding with this one? Question? Question, guys? Wala? Question, baka may mga clarification kayo para ayun pala ang masagutan na natin. Walang question? Hello? Buhay pa ba kayo? Baka nakatulog na kayo. Guys, question.
None, sir.
None, sir.
Alright. So I hope talaga naintindihan nyo. Alright. So we have here the format for the function. Okay. So when we say function, it controls the form of numeric value or date in the output. So ito yung syntax niya. So gagamit muna kayo ng word na format. Then close and open parenthesis. And then yung variable inside. Okay. And then comma. And then yung format na ilalagay nyo. Okay. So marami tayong klase ng format. Or marami tayong example. Okay? Ito yung mga example nila. So, pwede kayong gumamit ng currency as a format, fix for the format, or number, or percent, scientific, date, and then time. So, for currency, so pag naglagay kayo dyan ng C, so since nasa Philippines tayo, ang currency na magpapakita dito is peso sign. Okay? Pag nasa Amerika ka siguro, so magpapakita dyan is dollar sign. Okay? And then for fix, you can use the abbreviation F or capital letter F, small letter F, or capital letter F. Okay, so this will just display with 2 decimal places. Okay? So kung gusto mong, let's say napakahaba ng decimal, let's say 10 decimals, and then gusto mo lang kunin is 2 decimal, so you can use the format F. Okay? And then kung gusto mo namang kontrolin yung counts of decimals, so pwede kang gumamit ng number. Okay? Or N. So ito, kung gusto mong isa lang, 0.0. Kung gusto mong dalawa, 0.00. Gusto mong tatlo, 0.000. Kung gusto mong apat, 0.0000. Yun. Okay, so basically, depende yun sa counts of 0 na ilalagay nyo. Okay? And then P for percentage. So, pag nilagay nyo to as your format, minumultiply nyo na rin yung variable or kung ano man yung laman ng variable ay yung value nun by 100. And then, lalagyan nyo ng percentage. Okay? So, yun yung parang pinagkaiba kapag gumamit ka lang ng symbol na percent wherein hindi mo naman siya multiply by 100. Pero kapag ginamit mo itong P, minumultiply niya na by 100 agad-agad. Okay? And then E or capital letter E for standard notation for scientific. And then for date, meron tayong month, date, and year, of course. So double M, double B, and then quadruple Y. And then for time, so meron tayong hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, and then yung AM or PM format niya. So ito yung mga format na pwede nating ilagay. Okay? So we have an example here. Oops. Okay. So less than a minute na lang tayo since naubos na yung 40 minutes natin. So gagawa na lang ulit tayo ng bagong link. So again, maghintay muna kayo siguro ng mga 5 minutes since i-convert niya pa yung recorded video na ginawa natin ngayon or itong naka-record na video ngayon. Okay, so yung may mga katanungan mamaya, mamaya na lang ulit. Okay? So i-end ko na to ngayon and then mamaya na lang ulit. Bibigay ko ulit yung link, join na lang ulit kayo kagad. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay.